What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about why I believe Rey is a Skywalker and why this is J.J. Abrams saying, "Take that, Rian Johnson." So I want to talk a little bit about my theory that Rey is indeed a Skywalker, that the title is in fact referring to her and not Kylo, or not just Kylo Ren, but also the fact that I feel like this movie, in a lot of ways, and this is one of the biggest ways, is going to be saying, "Take that, Rian Johnson. This is what you did to mess it up, and this is how I'm going to be fixing it," talking about J.J. Abrams. So here's a couple things. The first thing, again, I want to talk about that she is a Skywalker. Here's the thing. I get what people are saying. I get that. I feel like the title, in a way, is supposed to mislead. I feel like you're supposed to look at it, and obviously it's showing Rey a lot, and the title, The Rise of Skywalker, and this and that, and you're supposed to say, okay, well, it's not going to be blatantly obvious. They're not just going to come out and say, she's a Skywalker. It could maybe talking about Kylo. It's talking about Ben Solo. And then maybe JJ's thinking, well, people are going to think that, so reverse psychology, it is actually Rey. At the end of the day, Rey is somebody. Rey is not, absolutely not, a nobody. Just like Kylo said in Episode 8. That's Rian Johnson. That was Rian Johnson's interpretation. We know that there's no synchronization from Episode 7 through 9. Kathleen Kennedy didn't know what she was doing in terms of being a leader and organizing this, and there is no kind of synchronized story between the three. Rian Johnson took JJ's interpretation in Episode 7 and made his disaster of The Last Jedi. JJ now has to pick up the pieces and tell, I guess, the rest of his story in Episode 9. I do believe he was setting up Rey to be a Skywalker. I think he was 100% setting that up. Now, how she is, or if Luke is actually her father, remains to be seen. There are still always the theories, or always the possibilities, that Rey could still just be a kind of creation of the Force. Maybe Luke created her from the Force. But she could be a kind of replication of Anakin Skywalker, who again was born of the Force. The midichlorians, he kind of just came about, right? That was the story of Anakin. Rey could be the exact same thing, and a lot of people thought that was a very high possibility going into Episode 8. Everybody lost all the bets they made of any theory, any logical theory you could ever make because of Rian Johnson, but there's still time to pick up the pieces. JJ can still make it so that Rey is actually a Skywalker. Again, I get it. It could just be talking about Kylo. Rey doesn't have to be. Rey could be a Kenobi. There's a lot of people that think that Rey is still Obi-Wan, an offspring of him. That's very possible. People still believe that, and people thought that, again, going into Episode 7. People thought that going into Episode 8, and people still think they go in Episode 9. People thought Rey could be a Skywalker going into Episode 7, 8, and 9. At the end of the day, again, I just think the overall message we need to get out and people need to start thinking is she's not nothing. She's not a nobody. She's not just an average person. She is somebody. She is a Skywalker, hopefully, but she is something. She is, she's got that last name that makes her connected to somebody, or that, a family tree that we already know. I 100% think that's the case. Again, are they kind of deceiving us by saying Rise of the Skywalker and then it's actually Kylo they're talking about? Yes, and does the message kind of stand for that they're always going to kind of be there to have balance to the Force? I believe that. I think that's what Luke's kind of saying, that they're never going to go away, that they'll always be there. And then just the kind of name is more of a statement. The Rise of Skywalker is more of a statement that, like, Skywalkers will always exist. They'll always be around. They'll always be able to keep the balance. I think that's going to kind of be the message in this movie, especially with Palpatine or the Emperor coming back as a Force ghost. I don't think he'd actually return. I think that that's going to kind of be the thing where they'll always need these Skywalkers to protect against whatever the villain or the Sith or the dark side or whatever. That'll always be around. But more than anything, not just with the title, not just if Rey actually is a Skywalker, because that would be the biggest, F you to Rian Johnson, or the biggest suck it or whatever. That would be the biggest thing in the world if Rey actually is a Skywalker, because then it would just be, spitting in his face in a good way. But I have a feeling one of the main themes we're going to see from this movie is that they are going to be taking what Rian Johnson did and saying, you know what, I can't believe you did this in Episode 8. I had this, and this plan, and I'm going to try and figure out the best ways to actually, make it. I'm going to maybe bring Snoke back as a ghost. I'm going to say who he actually is. Maybe he's not just Supreme Leader Snoke. Maybe he's still Darth Plagueis, but I'm going to bring him back as a Force ghost. And I'm bringing back the Emperor, obviously, as a Force ghost. I feel like JJ is also in a way doing a lot of what George Lucas wanted to do, and we're going to talk about that in tomorrow's video as well. George Lucas, don't forget, his original vision for the next episode of Star Wars was to have a lot of returning characters all as Force Ghosts and kind of like a Force Ghost war kind of thing. So maybe he's kind of paying an homage to that he wants to do something along the lines of that. But I truly believe, and I know we've been wrong, I mean, we've kind of predicted it, or we've said we believe that Rey is a Skywalker. We said that in episode 7. We said that leading up to episode 8. But so many things happened in episode 8 that shouldn't have in the first place. I do not think that just because Rian Johnson said, or Kylo said through Rian Johnson's writing, that Rey is a nobody, that her parents don't matter, I do not think that means that she actually is a nobody and that her parents don't matter. Maybe they don't matter. Maybe that's the only way they can make this work. That if her parents don't matter, that's fine, because if she was born from the Force, then yes, her parents actually don't matter. The people that raised her don't actually matter. The people that raised Luke, his aunt and uncle, they don't necessarily matter. I know Luke was born to obviously Anakin and Padme, but if Rey is born of just the Force, of the midichlorians, of just the universe that is Star Wars, then whoever raises her at birth, they don't really matter. They're not really her parents. She doesn't technically have parents. I thought that's what they were going to do with episode 8. That's really the only loophole, the only kind of opening that JJ has if he still wants to make her a Skywalker. And how do you necessarily do that, right? Because Anakin was born and he was given the name Skywalker, and then Luke was born from him, and that's why he's named Skywalker. And then if Rey's just born of nothing, can she be a Skywalker? I don't know how they would make that work. Maybe Luke, because maybe they can again figure out a way of saying that Luke ended up training her at a young age, and Luke just didn't say anything about that in episode 8, and that was all kind of a game that he was playing, that he was just lying to her. Maybe they could do that, and then he kind of gave her the name Skywalker. I don't know. They can do a couple different things to make it work, but I do feel like they're going to do something. I feel like this is going to be kind of a redemption thing for JJ, and to say, take that, Rian Johnson. And if you guys want to relive or re-experience these Star Wars movies, or really any movies or TV shows for that matter, make sure you guys check out Fandango now. Check in our description box below. We have an affiliate link for Fandango now. You click that, you do your shopping needs. It helps support the channel, helps support us making these videos. You guys can link your Fandango VIP points, so if you guys are earning money when you buy tickets to go to the movie theater, you guys can use those points to actually rent or buy movies or TV shows. So if you guys want to experience The Last Jedi for some reason, or The Force Awakens, or any of the really good Star Wars movies of the past, you can check that out on Fandango now. It would really help us out. So guys, let me know in the comments below, do you think Rey is a Skywalker, or do you think she's somebody else, or do you think she actually still is a nobody like Rian Johnson said? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up, and we're going to have another Star Wars Episode 9 theory tomorrow, and make sure you guys check back on all the Star Wars coverage we've done. We'll have community series. We'll be talking a lot about Episode 9, and even Jedi Fallen Order as we get closer to both of those. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you on the next video.